could you just break down what those three mean? And is it important not to mix up what's the United States, what's the United States of America, and what's America?
Okay, the United States is a place, a thing. It's a noun. And it's capital United States of the wall of unanimous declaration as a declaration by the representatives of the United States of America, all capital letters, in General Congress assembled. Well, the United States is actually Congress assembled. That's it. Wherever Congress assembled, that's the United States.
All right. United States equals Congress assembled.
Right.
Okay.
Now, for the term United States of America, a lot of times you look at that, and in cases it'll say United States, and then when it gets into the real nitty-gritty of the case, right underneath in the beginning, it says United States of America. There is no difference. What it is if you take that and you say United States, you know that that's Congress assembled of. That means it belongs to. The next word in the sentence, America. America is a country. The United States is not a country. The United States is actually Congress assembled, and it represents the United States, actually represents a subdivision of the Crown.
All right, now, before you go on...
But the word America,
okay.
It doesn't matter whether you use United States or United States of America, it's the same thing. It is like the shoe and the box. Okay? The shoe of the box. Well, the shoe is in the box, isn't it? Well, it came out of the box. It belongs into the box. Therefore, you can say the shoe or the shoe of the box.
All right, let me try to get this straight. What you're talking about is the Congress assembled is the United States, and it happens to be the shoe that's inside the box called America.
Right, and the box is America.
All right, now, you made a point, and I think we ought to bring this out here because we're not being nitpicking, and that is America is what everybody in the old world referred to this continent as, or at least this.
Yes, if you go out and you go look at the old maps, you will see it says America. And in some of the material that I caught on there, on what I've been just researching about the Crown and everything like that, it says on the net, you can go in and you can anybody can pull it up, type in the history of the American presidents. It doesn't say United States presidents, it says American presidents, meaning that the presidents of what's in America is the presidents of the United States. Now, when you actually get in and you listen to the introduction of the president in any congressional hearings or any speeches that he gives, it says, I now introduce the President of the United States. They do not put of America. Because that's a separate entity in and of himself, because he's not the president of all the states. Well, he is now because of their all territories. But originally it was the states were independent, and the president was only the president of the United States, because if every governor signed a law, and he would have to present it to the president of the United States of America, they wouldn't get anything done. In other words, he can't be the president of all 50 states. He's only the president of the United States. And in the John Barron case, they actually come out and the Supreme Court gave that dictation and explained why John Barron couldn't use the Fifth Amendment, because he wasn't a party actually to be able to invoke the Fifth Amendment, because it only applied to those people in the United States, and the states were ignored by the First Bill of Rights, which actually carries its own preamble.
Okay, now I'll stop you there because people are going to get a little bit entwined, and I'm just trying to straighten this thing out because we're going to revisit or revisit some of these sectors. So here's an interesting point, and that is the president is always introduced, as we see every time he walks in for a State of the Union address, as the president of the United States.
Yeah,
that's because he's the head, he's the poobah for the District of Columbia.
Right.
All right. Now, United States of America, he can't speak for the 50 states.
No.
Or the 50
That's all that means. Yeah, but in a court case, When they say United States of America versus John Doe, well, you can delete America, the word of America, and just put United States. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. It's just that the United States is in a country called America. Like the shoe is in the box called a shoe box.
All right, now we have this thing called the United States, and are you saying then that this is something ephemeral? It is a concoction, if you will, a construct that is not really geographical, but is laid over a geographical nation, which is the United States.
Right. Houben and Allison versus EVAT in 1925 gave the distinction of 3 definitions that you could use for the term United States. And it only meant what Houben and Allison versus EVAT said, that it can be a distinct thing in the District of Columbia. It can be the country as a whole referred to as the United States. And the last one I can't remember, but it was immaterial. But yeah, if you look at the United States and the United States of America, they're one and the same. It doesn't matter. You can use them interchangeably.
Okay. All right. In fact, I had asked somebody who had risen a question in the chat room about this, but it may not be a bad time. A Claim of Right has asked, and I don't think, if we go a little further, I'll just ask you to, hang in there, because, for the most part, you've got all the information. I can sit here and I'm going to basically play the part of somebody who's never heard this before. And, of course, I'm kind of dense, so in a way, it's kind of the same. But and I'll bring you back, and I know you're okay with that. You and I have done enough stuff. We're all right. All right, but Claim of Right has asked something. He said, looking at that whole construct with the definitions of United States and the United States of America, Claim of Right is asking, is there an equivalent for England? Is the UK analogous to the United States, which he wrote in caps? I don't know if you know what he was doing there, but it's okay. Is there any? Is the UK broken down just like we are? Because we know we are in tow to England. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, the United Kingdom would mean everything that the United Kingdom owns in the world. It said the sun never set on British Empire.
Right.
So the United Kingdom is a British Empire, and it's not just England itself. It is China, parts of the Philippines, parts of the Mariana Islands, parts of South America, Canada, the United States, the West Indies, all those countries that were in the British Empire or the United Kingdom.
Okay.
That's why they called it the United Kingdom. It wasn't just plain, when you say the British Empire, you're meaning everything in the world that Great Britain owned at one time. And but if you're talking about Great Britain, now you're just talking about England itself, that island that's off the coast of Europe.
But do they experience then, there's some light bulbs over there in the UK who understand what's going on, but are they dealing with the same thing we are in a sense that, okay.
Yeah, basically, yes.
They have a parliament and they have the Queen and the King.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you would say that, and then in essence, this isn't something that is necessarily just endemic to the UK or the United States.
No.
This is something that's a governmental thing, of course, that's very, if you will, and I mean this word in every term possible, in every meaning possible, it is diabolical.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Like the Roman Empire. Look how much they owned. It wasn't just Italy. It was spread all over.
Well, ironic, and again, this is like another whole 5 hours. We can't go there. But the thing is, you raise a good point. And are we not looking at the second coming of the Holy Roman Empire?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's all right. You sound a little contentious there.
Well, from what I just found.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the Pope did own Great Britain back in 1215. And he owned all the subjects and all the land that Britain owned, and that's why he claims to be the owner of all the property in the world, because that is one of the tenets of the Catholic Church, that no private man can ever own property. The Vicar of Christ has to own the property first.
All right, we got two things going on here, and let me try to balance this. To be very clear about what's going on here, when we talk about the crown, that we can also talk about like Washington. I mean, it's a very all-encompassing term. But when we look at the crown, are we talking about the City of London? Are we talking about what now is the power base, and that is the Rothschilds, who have ensconced themselves in the City of London? Would that be fair? That may not be the way, obviously, before they gained power in the days of the American Revolution. How does that work out?
Well, the crown itself could be used to the kings and the queen. That was the crown of England, okay, of the British Empire. Not the British Empire, but Great Britain. But now you also had the crown, which is the exchequer of the king in the City of London, a totally separate entity from the crown, meaning the king. So this is where a lot of people get confused if they don't know exactly what crown they're talking about. But the crown, yes, the crown actually owns and operates the world and has put us in this mess that we're in today in America.
All right, so when we talk about the crown right now,
right,
what is that referring to?
The Bank of England.
And that is run by the?
That is run by the international bankers that, if you look at the Federal Reserve, they are the same people that own the Bank of England.
All right, are we looking at the Rothschilds?
Well, it wasn't the Rothschilds before, but it was when they came in to be the first bank in the United States. See, the first bank of the United States, it didn't say the first bank of the United States of America, did it? It says the first bank of the United States. Well,
National Bank, yeah.
Yeah, and so when Washington created the War Powers Act in 1792 to obfuscate the directives from the Crown in writing the Constitution, he, in 1792, decided that he was going to bring in the first bank because, you see, the Crown wrote the law that this country could not operate with paper money. It had to be gold and silver. It wasn't the Founding Fathers that set this up. It wasn't Congress. It was the British Crown because it was better to control the subdivision that they just formed called the United States.
Right.
And they couldn't, and they would not allow them to use, and this goes back to 1751, when the British Board of Trade wrote the first act to stymie this country because this country could not get enough gold, and therefore they had to issue the Massachusetts Bay Note, and this is how they prospered from 1751 all the way up until when the Revolutionary War took place.
All right, so we can say that the Massachusetts Bay Note was backed by real reserves and worked.
It was backed by wool, corn,
and commodities.
All the commodities, and it was non-inflatable. The only currency in this entire world that has never been inflatable, because if you took this note and you went in and say you sold something and you got this note and it said you get so much in sheep's wool, corn, leather, and whatnot, you could go back 20 years from then in the future, present the note, and get the same amount, no matter what the price is, you got the same amount of wool, corn, leather, and the other commodity that was there.
But there was something real that stood for something that was a substitute.
Everybody used that. It's not like today, because everybody generally was a farmer and worked with their hands. There was no Wall Street then. There was no businesses like there were small businesses, but nothing big like today.
Right.
No GM, no IBM, no Exxon Oil Company or anything like that.
All right. What I want to ask you, a claimant right asked in the chat room, is there a company name for England? I mean, we know we have a corporation here. Is there a corporation there as well?
Well, it's not a corporation like, well, it is. It's a divine right of kings. They had their own corporation, if you wanted to call it a corporation.
Okay.
But over here, you can go on to Manta or Dun & Bradstreet, and you can type in the United States and find out that it is a corporation.
That is true, and folks, you can do that. And again, as Iman said, go to Manta, that's MANTA.com. I would also say Veromi,